Hey everyone, you're with Christine and Ask Your Angels, and I'm here tonight with returning guest Heidi McBratney. And Heidi is back from her visit to the Kalahari Desert, so we're getting an update tonight on Healing Waters Humanity United. I said that wrong. So hi, welcome back. So you've been to the Kalahari Desert since we spoke to you. And we actually have a photo. I don't know if Tech Guy's ready yet. We have a photo of the Kalahari Desert just to give people an idea of where it is.
Fantastic.
Do we have that up?
Which one do we want to see?
It's a big desert.
I only took one. Oh, well, the map. We'll look at the map first. The map.
So here's the map.
Okay. So Heidi, what gave you the idea? Well, maybe you can tell people why you went to the Kalahari Desert.
I'm trying to remember now. It was 3 years ago, so whatever year this is, I can't remember. And 3 years ago I received a vision to start to gather waters from around the world. And I was to take that eventually to the Kalahari Desert and do something with it. At that time I wasn't sure exactly what that meant.
So you had a message come to you? Was it like your inner voice, angels said Kalahari Desert, or was that something that what made you think of the Kalahari Desert?
It's when I receive vision, it's more like an instruction that's being given to me.
Okay.
So it comes, if you will, in a picture, in words. There are many talking directly to me and setting out the guidelines, so to say.
Okay.
And I am just, I'm the servant, and I do what they tell me.
So it was like, okay, got to get lots of water, and I guess I'm going to the
right.
Kalahari Desert.
After I argue a bit first and say, seriously, can't you send me to Costa Rica?
Somewhere nice and warm where I lay on the beach and do your good work. There's water there. I was telling Heidi, we've had a lot of signs that it's a pretty special night, and I was saying, for regular viewers who know my cat Jonah, he spilt water on my computer just before the show. I think that's symbolic somehow.
I think so.
That he's on board with the topic tonight. So you took water to the Kalahari Desert. That must have been a lot of planning for getting water from around the world. Maybe you can tell us how you did that.
Well, my first thought was, how am I going to get all this water from around the world? I don't have the capacity to travel everywhere around the world. So what I started doing is, anyone I knew, people who would come to visit me and work with me, I would ask that they bring a gift of water from wherever they would travel to, or their own homeland, because some people are coming from far away, even from a river or a stream by their home.
I had that water from Florida.
That's right.
But you left.
So there was waters from hundreds of places around the world by the time all was said and done, by the time I left for the Kalahari.
Do you remember where they were from?
Pretty much every continent on Earth by the time it was done.
Did you have room at your house?
Well, I asked people to bring me just little bottles, or they would take like a water bottle with them and bring that back, and they were to label where it came from, the date that it was collected, the name of the body of water, if there was a name of the body of water from where they received it, anything that was significant to know about that body of water. And when they collected it, they were to leave a gift to the body of water. They were to ask permission to take some of the water. And so a gift could have been a prayer, a thank you, a piece of food, a stone, something as an exchange.
Okay. For those who perhaps didn't see our last show with Heidi, it is on YouTube if you'd like to see it. It's on shamanism, because you're a shaman. Mm-hmm. And maybe for people that didn't see that show, you can give them a little bit of background on you.
Wow. Well, a shaman, what do? They listen to the worlds in between, because in this world we see things, we see people, but there are unseen worlds, angels and elementals and much, much more. And so a shaman is just guided by that unseen world or traverses into those worlds to look what needs to happen to bring peace and harmony, whether it be working with a person or a family, or if it's working with land, or if it's working with humanity, or larger than that. So shamanism is just someone who knows medicines in an unseen world and can work that way and bring it here and bring it so that humanity can feed from it and grow.
And the water ceremony, that was to help humanity unite. Is that right?
Absolutely.
We were kind of laughing on our last show. Loved what you were doing, but do you remember what I said?
I do.
We had this vision of Heidi laying out in the desert, and you know, there was no water to be seen anywhere, and there were empty bottles all around her. Oops.
Well, and there was actually empty bottles all around me.
Oh, there was.
Well, because
because you had to
I
empty
needed
them.
to have people transport.
Did you get a photo? See, no, that would have been a photo for me, right?
I
You should have
don't
got someone
so.
to take a picture of you laying out there with all those bottles. I would have loved that. We would have posted that for sure.
So the whole journey of these waters over 3 years was to have the waters in constant ceremony. So every time waters would come in, they would be joined into one. And because all
And
waters...
this is at the Kalahari Desert.
This is before. So really this whole process
okay.
has been going on for 3 years. The Kalahari Desert was the end.
So where were you putting all these waters? Were your bathtub?
Yeah, we didn't bath for 3 years, no.
Whoa!
No, so I had someone had gifted me a large container as a thank you for something, and everything happens in perfect flow.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
So I needed one, and then someone gifted that. And everything was combined into one in ceremony. So those waters were in ceremony for 3 years.
3 years. Wow.
Constantly. And as we got closer to going to the desert, the ceremonies and the work done with the waters was increasing and heightening.
Is that the same as, would you say it's the same as holy water, or is that something entirely different?
I guess you could say that. But, you know, on the other hand, all water is holy, right? It is really just, it's bringing us back to our holiness. Mm-hmm. Because everything is holy, and we all need to see that. We're all sacred. We're all divine. We're all divine beings. And that's the awakening that's needing to happen, and the remembering that it doesn't matter who we are, where we come from, and whether we're people or animals or nature.
We're all one.
Absolutely.
So who else helped you? Did you have people helping you or traveling with you to the Kalahari Desert?
Thank goodness I did. It started with a friend of mine. I knew she had connections in Africa, and she knew I needed to go to the Kalahari, and I had said I'm going to need someone to take care of my physical body while I work, because I won't have an awareness of my physical body. And just I didn't know where I would be in the desert and with the animals that are out and stuff,
Right.
especially at nighttime.
What kind of animals do you see in the desert at night?
I didn't see lots, but I was in ceremony.
Because you were not
times,
actually there, in a sense.
Yeah. You know, we had the opportunity to sleep out on a platform, so you know we saw the elephants and hippos and giraffes and zebras, and I awoke to the roar of a lion in the middle of the night and
Wow.
saw the silhouette. But that wasn't so much in the desert. That was kind of a bonus before going to the desert to be with the animals. But out in the deserts, what did I come across? Goats. Funny enough, they led me to some shade one day. I found a snake den, and was curious and got real close and saw a black and yellow thing and then remembered they're all poisonous there, so I figured I should move away.
That's probably a good idea.
Some spiders, large spiders.
Yeah.
That's all I really remember. But
don't think I'd want to see those. No.
This friend began to organize a journey to Africa with a medicine man, a beautiful, beautiful man, Ndaza. His name means one who's in constant prayer.
Oh, that's nice.
And so we spent some time with him and his community before we all carried on to South Africa, into the Kalahari Desert.
And how did you travel?
Well,
was it on foot, camels, jeeps?
We, first airplane into South Africa, and then we had, I guess, a large, like a passenger van that we had to push out a few times from the sand. And one of the medicine women there said, after we pushed it out the first time, they said, "Now you're initiated into the Kalahari Desert."
That's a common thing, I guess.
Well, because it sinks,
yeah.
Right? So it was that way, and then by foot, and the way the sand people do it in the desert is you never know how many of them there are because there is only one set of footprints. You step so that you have the first person, and everyone follows in that same set of footprints.
Oh, wow.
So it looks like there is only one person.
That's not as easy as you think it would be,
It's not.
especially if one guy has bigger feet than the other, right?
That's right. So there were other people who were coming who were on spiritual journeys for themselves, and I had asked them all, some of them were from the area where I lived, that if I could meet with them, would they be willing to transport some bottles of water for me? So
roughly how
yes.
big were they by the time you went? How much, like this big, or what did you have to carry?
There was probably maybe a water bottle, about 20 of them that were taken over.
See, and here I was picturing you with these great big vats of water, thinking, how the heck did you do this?
No, that wasn't because, remember, if you think of homeopaths, with homeopaths, you just need a little bit of something to be highly effective.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's the same idea. So even though there's more water where that came from, which will, I'm sure, in later times go into ceremony. So all these people helped to transport it to the different places until we got into the desert. And then I just sat with them all there. But those waters, before we left Canada, went into a special ceremony to get ready to go into plastic bottles because they had been collected in a big vat. And I had one person, beautiful woman, her name's Susan, come and join me early in the mornings, early hours, and do quite a ceremony in preparation for these waters to travel. And it took a few hours, and we had a little calabash, and some of the waters were in there, and I had rose petals and carnation petals, and many prayers went into that. And
Is this a customs problem? Like, do you have to say to customs we're transporting water? I don't fly, so I really don't know what's happening when you go across.
I don't say anything unless I get asked.
Okay. So the water, is it in a carry-on bag, or is it?
No, it's in the regular luggage, because with the planes now you can't carry any liquid.
Okay, but you can still have it in the luggage?
Well,
just see you going through security and him dumping it all out on you.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine?
There was many prayers going for that not to happen, not only for me, but many other people.
Can you imagine after 3 years if that had happened?
Well, but that would have never happened because Spirit, once it makes a request, always ensures that the path is clear for everything to happen.
It's true.
Right.
It is very true.
And I know even during the time, from the time I received the vision people would say, when are you going to Africa? And I would say, I don't know. When I am guided and told to, and that there needs to be a flow versus a push.
Right.
You know, to try and make it happen. Because when you're doing a push, you're in your mind, you're not in spirit. And you just need to wait. So I waited till my friend said, well, I'm going to Africa. I said, great, okay, can you arrange for someone to be there for me? And then everything just flowed, and then other people started coming forward, and a couple said, well, I'm with you because I was given a dream that I was to be there to support whatever you need to do.
And
so that's
life is like that. I always tell people life is like that. If you can just, and it's hard to just totally give yourself to spirit and forget everything you know and just say, okay, I'm in your hands, show me the way, and just let it come.
Right.
But so many people want to rush it. They want answers now.
Yeah, because your answers often don't come till after. Right. You're not given the plan ahead of time.
No.
You're just given the next step.
And usually you have to look back to understand why it all happened.
Right.
Yeah.
So these waters, as they prepared to go on the journey, we took the calabash and took it down to the local creek by my home to release it into the waters there to begin the joining. And all these petals formed the infinity sign in the water.
Oh.
And then even though the water was rushing, it continued to move as the infinity sign.
I'm guessing you didn't get a photo of that either.
No.
That would have been amazing.
Yeah, unfortunately, often when you're in a ceremony like that, we don't allow any of the photography to happen because it becomes very disruptive to the energy and the spirit that are there. So that's why you didn't have a picture of me lying around with bottles of water.
Oh, that would have been great. But you did take some photos.
Yes.
Are you ready to show those now, or do you want to wait a little bit?
Why don't we show the one with the clouds in it?
Tech guy's going. They both have clouds, Heidi.
That's
remember?
Right, I forgot about that. The big clouds, Brett.
He wants you to point. Just point to one.
Which one is it? I can't see them.
Oh, okay. Well, no, stop the weaving. Okay.
It's the one behind
the one,
that one.
This one?
Yeah.
It's over there.
Okay. That's it. That's it.
Okay.
Yes.
I felt that was the one you wanted.
I didn't know that one had been placed over there. So this coming into the desert, there's so many different terrains to the Kalahari Desert. It really surprised me, from being completely flat and nothing to other areas where the sands were different colors and there were actually trees, which I didn't expect.
Oh, really?
There to be not lots of trees, right? But there was some trees, old grandmother trees. And actually was able to put my tent out underneath one so that there was some shade during the day. To beautiful red sands. I don't know if we can see that.
Oh, wow. Is that... Oh, and you know what? I offered Heidi a water when she came here, and she said, no, I'm good. And I thought you had some sort of one of those gross protein veggie drinks, and it's sand. That's too funny. Oh, wow. It's so beautiful. It's the color of cinnamon. It's like...
Absolutely. That's what it looks like.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Oh, now is this...
You
Can we
open it.
put a little so that do you want to get a close-up so people can actually see?
Just a quick question. Is that a red sand from the desert?
Yeah, from the Kalahari Desert.
The kind that gives blood rain to Europe?
Ah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Is it safe to put on my hand
Yes.
after all that? Okay. He had me a little nervous.
They just got hit by a big storm of blood rain in Europe.
Ah,
primarily
I did
the
not know
UK.
that.
Leaves a red, fine powdered dust all over everything.
Can you get a close-up?
I've got a close-up.
You do?
That's as close as I can get.
You can see that on my hand?
Nope.
What do you mean no?
I can't.
It's sitting here with sand in my hand, and you can't get a close up.
No, put it back in the box.
All right, here. Can we see this?
And what you can do, which brings you in connection with the Kalahari Desert, is you can eat some of the sand.
No, I'm good. Well, no, but in all seriousness, well, you know what? I think you're going to have to show us.
I can do that.
I had a feeling you would.
So there's a little piece here that's a little bit together. And what we do is we hold it in prayer and give thanks and bring ourselves into oneness with whatever it is we're taking in. This is the Kalahari Desert.
All right.
Oh, good for you.
Grit.
You don't have to chew it. Just let it go on your tongue.
Mmm.
It's tasteless.
It is tasteless. A
But
little gritty.
But what we look for is the
Still
energy.
a bit gritty.
And allowing it to connect with us and expand.
It feels warm.
Right.
It does?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Would you like to try some, tech guy? Are you sure? Okay, we'll get you after the show.
Which leads to a beautiful story that in the Kalahari Desert, we were with the people who lived there. And they were very excited to receive people. One is because we come with food, and so food is scarce. And so all of the people around come, and fire is the most important thing. It's what brings the communities together in the Kalahari Desert. It's what you keep warm by and cook by. And one evening after we had dinner, I brought out the waters, and they had again been in more intense ceremony. And I had offered around the circle, and I'm not sure how many of us there were. I'm thinking there was probably 30 to 40 of us sitting in the circle at that point around the fire, and to offer to bring our sacredness and our divinity, and to drink from the water if people wanted to. And all anyone knew was the waters had come from hundreds of places. Have some water.
I still got that gritty stuff in my teeth. I'm sorry.
Here we go, Christine.
Thank you. All right.
Sand to mud.
It's warm though. It's hard to explain. It really is. So how cold was it in the desert?
Well, in the desert, during the day, it would be very hot. You wanted to have as little to wear as possible, but be respectful also of how one presents
got that
themselves.
vision out of my head.
And at nighttime, you wanted pretty much all the layers of clothes you had to put on, because once the sun went down, within the half an hour of that sun starting to go down, it was cold. Mm-hmm. So you were having all of your clothes on, your sleeping bag, and
still cold,
and sometimes
probably.
having someone wrap their arms around you. So it would get quite cold.
Wow, for body heat, for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
And very quiet? Was it quiet at night?
Absolutely.
See, I would love that.
Amazing.
In a house of kids and electronics and
Right.
constant noise, just the thought of being somewhere like that at night, very still and quiet.
Very.
It would be beautiful. So we did post this photo. Were you going to tell? Is it still up? You might have to put it up again. But did you want to tell what you think it looks like?
Right.
What we both saw?
Well, let me finish this first story
Okay.
about the waters, because it's really important. Is that as we sat in ceremony and people knew that this water had come from hundreds of places around the world, not one person rejected to drink the water. So all did. And I have to tell you, in my humanness, because I knew where all the waters were coming from and they were combined, and if we probably put it through science, Some of those waters came from some of the worst places around the world, the most polluted, to the most sacred, to the cleanest. They really came from all over. So,
but they again were from spirit.
Right. And no one got sick. Matter of fact, people were saying even the next day that they were full of energy and they were clearer than they had been in a while. And so that was a beautiful story of what happens when we let spirit start to work in our lives, and when we just follow, and how, because the image is just bottles of water and using them.
It's the symbolism.
Right, but it's what happens in the energy that's really important. Right. So,
and everyone coming together like that too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that picture,
I love that picture.
For me, when I saw that first, driving into the Kalahari Desert, we were coming in at dusk time. And we were greeted by thunder, which is significant for me, because for me it has, it's a welcoming and it's a confirmation. And so thunder and lightning were there, because I've been hit by lightning a couple times. So when I know that lightning shows up,
really,
it's a recognition.
Is it true what they say that you have to bend over?
You have to bend over?
Well, they say the safest place to be hit by lightning is in your butt.
I have never heard that.
So you've been hit by lightning where? I mean, on your physical body. I don't mean where were you, but tell us that too.
Well, once was many years ago. I don't know, it was maybe 19 or 20, maybe somewhere around there. And not a cloud in the sky, and suddenly it came out of the sky and straight down through me. And
now, do you really think that was lightning in the sense of regular lightning?
Well, I don't know if it was regular lightning. I happened to be reaching for my car door, and it ruined my car. So it took out all the electricity in the car. So everything was gone in the car.
So Spirit saying they want you to walk on foot.
I guess.
It was a premonition you'd be walking through the desert.
Okay.
So before you tell me about the second time you were hit by lightning, I just want to say, for those of you who are joining our show, you're with the Ask Your Angels show, and we are here for a special presentation tonight with returning guest Heidi McBratney, who has been to the Kalahari Desert, had a water ceremony where she's brought from all over the world in a ceremony to help unite humanity. So we're thrilled to have you here. And Heidi was just telling us she's been hit by lightning twice.
Time I was cleaning my bathtub and the lightning came through the house to find me.
When you were cleaning the bathtub?
Yes.
That can be symbolic too. We were talking about the bath and the water. I'm just saying. So you got to the desert and there was thunder.
Yeah, so for me that's a welcome and a confirmation. And then no rain, and a very unusual sight apparently, and rainbows that came out. Also significant for me. And then as we journeyed in, there was this beautiful picture, this cloud, and for me it looked like the hands and offering light. And that's a cloud, and then there's angels in that cloud. And again, so it was like welcome, and you have many from the unseen world coming to support and do all this work.
And do we still have the photo up with the one that looks like the angel, just to show people again who just came on the show? Because the first thing I saw when I saw it, I saw an angel. It's beautiful. It really is. Yeah. Do we have it up? All right. Thank you very much, tech guy. Okay, so you weren't alone because you took another photo.
Right.
Do you want to share that one? Or is it?
Well, there was
leading up to it.
Yeah, I think I'll lead up to it.
Okay.
There was many days of ceremony that went into this, and everything from being in ceremony with the chaos that's in humanity, because it would be naive of us to think that everything is perfect, if you will. In some ways it is in its chaos. But there is chaos. There's people who are hungry, there's people who are hurting, there's harm, there's anger, there's all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Both in this world as a humanity and in unseen worlds also that exists.
Isn't that something? I don't know, I always assumed if there were other worlds, they were probably far superior and didn't fight at all. And everything was just beautiful. Not the case. No. There's a little Star Wars thing going on out there.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So there was ceremonies to be present and hear that and be with that and find some resolve with that. And there was ceremonies around grief, because there's huge grief in our world. And so being with that also. And
So how does the ceremony play out? What would you do exactly?
So if someone were sitting and watching, what it would look like is, if it's me, they're watching, what they would see is me being in some sort of a trance state, if you will. They would see maybe me having a conversation back and forth. They might see, I think some of them did witness some interesting things happening, which included my body being lifted up and thrown, and then lying there and then picked up and thrown again. Those are some of the things that someone might see. Do they know what's happening? No, because a lot of that's happening in an unseen world. They're just seeing the physical parts that happen.
That's why they say, people say they see ghosts, and why are ghosts always floating above us?
Right.
And I've been told that it's not that they're floating above us, they're in another realm.
That's right.
And we see that realm above us,
right.
But they're actually on the ground.
Right. Good description.
Okay. I have a good one every so often.
So, and in the ceremonies, it's more what people would feel, is they would feel a shift in energy. They'd feel an expansiveness, or they'd feel a heaviness, depending what the ceremony is all about and what it's aimed for. So if there's grief, people would feel a lot of heaviness, even in their physical body, even if they didn't know what someone else was going through. They would feel that themselves, or just like that in their thoughts. Their thoughts wouldn't be as clear, or maybe not as happy. So those would be experiences they would have if they're sitting in a ceremony like that. And then once the ceremony is done, there's often like this feeling of light, like something's been lifted off, ease.
It's kind of like that when I do a reading, because I'm an empath, so I feel what the person's feeling.
Right.
And you put so much energy into it, and then when it's over, you have a lightness. I always say it's really good for me too when I do readings for people.
Absolutely.
Because I guess it raises your energy. And
right.
I wasn't going to say anything, but I have to. Remember I said the sand, for those who have just joined us, I had to eat sand. That it was hot.
Yes.
The whole left side of my tongue is numb. I wasn't going to say anything. But at the back, it's numb.
Right.
This is not unusual for you? I don't know what it means. I'm allergic to your sand. I don't know. I'm waiting to go thud.
You won't go thud.
And that was her last show.
You won't go thud. I promise you that.
But has anyone ever had that? Where it's almost like
Yeah.
It's hard to explain, because when something's numb, you don't feel it. But it's like a burning numbness. It just feels very odd.
Right. Because what that is you're physically feeling the shift in your energy. So it shifts your energy, and then your physical body feels it. And your physical body is trying to assimilate something different. So after a while, you're going to feel that lighter place that's there.
Right now, everyone's heading for the beach. You know that, right? With their forks.
That's good. A little sand never hurt anyone.
Well, we'll see. Let's see. If I'm still here in 10 minutes.
I promise you will be.
Okay.
If we had people drink from some of the most awful places around the earth, and they're okay, you'll be okay.
I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, that's a great conversation starter, you know. Oh, hi, I'm Christine, and I ate sand from the Kalahari Desert yesterday. What were you doing? We do fun stuff, don't we, on this show?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, the water ceremonies, is there a history to that? Is this something that's been happening for years and years? Or
Eons.
Okay, so other people have been called to do this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's many people around the world doing that. Probably the most significant that some of us think of is Dr. Emoto.
I don't know Dr. Emoto, so...
He's Japanese, and he is a scientist, and he did research on water crystals. And what happens if you have water crystals that are just there, and then water crystals that people pray over? What is the impact of prayer?
Oh my goodness, did you talk about this in the last show?
Did I?
I think you did. And I feel terrible. I'm like, I know, I've heard the name before, but I'm sorry.
Right.
I really have to go back and watch my shows. Haven't had time. But yeah,
Right.
no, you were talking about him.
Yeah, so it's nice to have that scientific piece,
Mm-hmm.
only because it's confirming what people like me and through the generations have known for thousands of years.
But then there are people out there who want the scientific
Scientific
version, right, tech guy?
Right.
Everything okay? He's doing the Italian things. Okay.
Right. So there are many, many doing water ceremonies all the time. If you go into Peru, into Raimi in June, symbolically there are runners that go up to the glaciers and take a piece of the ice. And there was glacier water actually in the waters that went to the Kalahari also.
Wow.
And they take a piece of ice and they bring it down into the village as symbolic of being able to feed the people and feed the land and the water and the crops. So those kinds of ceremonies and water ceremonies have been going on for eons.
Do you think glaciers are special in some way? I'm asking because I was at the Rockies when I was a little girl, and we went to what's the famous glacier there?
I don't know the Rockies.
Fraser.
It's the something ice fields.
Okay, Arcadian ice fields. Yeah, that sounds about right. But I remember slipping and falling, and we were on this famous glacier, and sitting there, and it wasn't like regular snow. It wasn't melting. It was. There was something very strange about it, but I felt it was magical. I don't know why, but I just remember, I've never forgotten that. There was something very different about this.
Well, if you think about it, in some ways, those glaciers have been feeding humanity from the beginning of time. That's what's formed our oceans and rivers and so, but there is something very magical, and maybe being up high, we could say a bunch of things but as a shaman, that we believe that the mountains hold all the wisdom and knowledge of all medicine men and women of all times.
Okay, so maybe I was tapping into that.
Mm-hmm.
The Rockies are beautiful, by the way. Anyone gets a chance, go see the Rockies. It's like have you been there?
I've been to Vancouver, so I have seen some of them, but would love to journey out to the land I live in and see more.
It's like they're painted. They look painted on the sky. You just cannot believe they're real.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. So what else can you tell us about your trip? Did you do anything fun while you were there? Did you share some laughs?
Absolutely. Well, the laughs, being able to be out with the animals that live on that land. And part of the laughter was we were in their land and we stayed on a platform. And they were to bring our sleeping bags and our warm clothes out. We left them kind of at a base place, and someone was going to drive them out with our dinner. Because is there a certain time you can't drive the vehicles in this area? It's too dangerous for the animals or for the cars. And it was rather late. It was dark. We were wondering if dinner was going to come. It did. But no sleeping bags or clothes arrived with it.
Ooh, that'd be scary with nighttime coming.
Well, it got all of us very close, shall I say. We all shared what clothes we had on our backs, and some people had already brought some sleeping bags, so there was some snuggling close together to keep warm.
Bruce, you know what they say.
What's that?
You keep warmer with body heat with no clothes.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying, I don't
think
really
no
want to
one
know what
ventured
went
that
on in
direction.
the desert.
Yes, no one ventured that direction, I believe.
I had a question online.
Yes.
It says, is there a ceremony to purify water?
Absolutely. So, as I said, people were drinking this water. But the most important ceremony is your love and your intention. What does that mean? To get in your center and to get pure inside yourself. And so that we try and eliminate our mind and our ego and our emotions and see everything as sacred. And when you see it as sacred, then it becomes sacred. And
that makes sense.
Impact. So we can all do this. This is not reserved
I'm
for
thinking
special people.
If this is something we can do when we're going back to the bath, but when we're having a bath.
Absolutely.
If we're able to do that and then get into that bath.
Absolutely.
Imagine how amazing we would feel.
Right.
My tongue's still numb.
Or even the water you're drinking right now, that you hold an intention that is very sacred water. And that you let that sacredness come into you because it allows you to find the sacredness inside you also. It interchanges. So I would invite as many people to do that as possible with any waters that they're drinking.
Yeah, they're talking
Or
about
that
that on the last show or when Alan was here, but we've had that before where someone said you can turn it into holy water.
Right, absolutely. And that's how do we find the divinity that's within all of us. It's within all of us. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And we source that.
A lot of people don't believe it's in them.
Well, and we have been led to believe it's not within us, or it's in some special people, or reserved only for an elite group of people, and and then we have to praise those people, and that's not true.
No.
It's within all of us.
It is, for sure.
And our process, as we're moving forward as humanity, is to remember that, to reawaken to that.
Do you think that's what the ascension is?
Absolutely.
So this is the
Absolutely.
2012 Mayan calendar, something great happening.
Right.
We all believe that
Right.
all of our energies, our frequencies are being raised up.
Right.
And I don't know about you, but I'm finding that I'm attracting more like-minded people, more loving, giving, caring people. And everybody, I was just saying the other day, everybody in my circle, there's not one mean, petty, all those traits that you don't care for. It's only loving, supportive, wonderful people. Right. And I think more and more people are finding one another and realizing that we are all together in this world and we're all one. And I think that's what the ascension is.
Well, and some of the difficulties that have been happening around the world are bringing, in a funny way, an awakening.
Yep.
Right, to our humanitarian side, our care and our love and our support. And it's not to say that the other doesn't exist, where there are experiences where people don't care, want to push that away or not see it.
But they won't know any
there.
different.
Well, they're still being pulled along to a different vibration and frequency because you can't help. But once something rises to a higher vibration, everything else is pulled along with that.
Well, that's good.
Absolutely.
So we'll be pulling them along.
Absolutely.
See, tech guy, you're coming with me. Shaking his head. What's up? Aw.
It's a place of more peace and more knowing and more wisdom inside your own soul and being able to follow the call of your soul.
Yeah, I'm excited. We're all excited about it.
Well, it's all happening already.
It is. It is. It's not. I don't think it's going to be one of those things where you just wake up on December 21st and go, oh, it's all changed. It is. It has been changing for a while now.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you want to see the other photo?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We see our other photo. To see that Heidi was not alone in the desert.
Yes, this other photo was after all these ceremonies took place. It started to rain in the middle of the night. Started off with thunder and lightning in the desert, and then it started to pour. Enough that some people were swimming in their tents in the morning.
Oh, wow.
That everything was underwater in their tents. And the photo is as we are leaving the desert, we're on the road out of the desert, and we're passing through some of the towns. And this is a picture of early morning, the sunshine coming down, and it's hitting a pool of water that was not there, but was now there. And I don't know if Brett was able to catch it on the photo, but at the bottom of the photo, there's a little green speck. And that green speck...
Oh, you didn't catch it?
It's just out of frame.
Can you pass it over and we'll hold it up? People should see this. We'll do it the way we used to do it. Oh, sorry. Tech guy had an injury. He's in pain, and I keep forgetting. I'm sorry about that. Okay. What is light? Here I was thinking how strong you were earlier. So
Brett will have to tell us.
Okay, right where your hand is.
Whose hand? This hand?
Yeah, where mine was. Right there.
Yep.
There's a green speck. To as orbs, where orbs are those in the unseen world, the spirit world, who are making themselves visible. And they make themselves visible in photography for those who can't see into the unseen world. And so it showed up right beneath this pool of water, and which I thought was beautiful. It was like, thank you. And thank you for all your help in making all that's possible, so that the lands around here could be fed, not only with the actual physical water, but the physical water represented feeding the soul, and humanity being fed deep in their soul, so that there's this awareness and shifting and awakening that comes forward.
And it's beautiful. It's green. I've seen like white orbs quite a bit, but green, to me, green is the color of healing.
Yes.
So how perfect is that there was a green orb?
Yeah.
That could be Archangel Raphael.
That could be. Absolutely.
Did you ask the orb?
I didn't. I was just sitting kind of in amazement, and I was also fairly tired by that time. I had been awake for many, many days. So.
Oh boy. So how long was the whole process when you were there?
Intensely, the whole process was 3 days. The final day on leaving out of the desert was a very sacred ceremony up on a mound, a big mound in the desert. So you imagine the winds are blowing the sand, right? And then it forms a mound. And that's where most of the waters went afterwards, but there was energy brought down from the spirit world and kind of planted there so it would spread and spread out. And it was an important mound to go to. I didn't know where we would go to do this particular ceremony. And when we were in South Africa, we had the chance to meet with Baba Credo Metwa, who is the oldest Zulu shaman, and said to be the wisest shaman on the earth alive at this time.
Oh, that must have been exciting for you.
It was beautiful. Beautiful. We had 3 beautiful days to sit together. And he did a naming ceremony, and the name he gave me I frankly didn't like because I knew it was going to give me more work. And
are you going to tell us what it is?
Well, its interpretation is daughter of the German people, because he realized that my heritage is German. But the area we went to in the Kalahari, this area had been a lot of bloodshed. Every speck of sand there had bloodshed on it.
That's not the one I ate, is it?
Well, it would have touched it, yes.
Yum. Okay.
But this was years ago, right, when the German people came and would, because there's been many people in South Africa, you know, Dutch people and German people and French and on and on and on. And so there had been a lot of bloodshed there. And so this mound was an important place because there was specific
Very
things
sacred.
that had happened there with lots of bloodshed, and it needed to find peace. And so given that I had been given the name, the daughter of the German people, in some ways to take care of that, to rectify it, to be another generation.
Which
to bring
actually
change.
sounds like... I want to hear the actual name.
Ah, the name.
Can you not remember? Because I bet it sounds really pretty.
I'm trying to remember how I would say it in Zulu. Nana Jundi, I believe it is.
Nana Jundi?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty. That's
Yeah.
right. There you go.
Yeah. I believe that's it. I'd have to look.
So since going to the Kalahari Desert,
Mm-hmm.
have your spirit guides or your visions, do you get a feel that it's already made a difference? Do you get,
Absolutely.
and do you see where it may have made a difference?
It made a difference in even the people that we were there with said that they felt hope, that they were very tired before and felt like giving up, and felt it would be easy to be consumed by alcohol, but there was a new sense of hope. I look around even of what's happening in the world where there's some difficulties with earthquakes or storm systems, and that there is more of a coming together versus an isolation. Oh, that happened to them. There's
Hurricane Sandy?
Yeah.
I have to say, I went on to Capital One. I was checking out my account, and Capital One's been giving millions to Hurricane Sandy victims.
Right.
And I was, to be honest, shocked that, because you don't normally hear of these big companies that
Right.
are obviously, I guess credit card companies, no offense, but they really are hurting a lot of people with the interest rates and everything. And so I kind of think of them as the enemy. So, but so for me, going in with that attitude, it was very eye-opening that, wow, they can be good guys too.
Right. Beautiful.
And that's probably because of your water ritual, that.
Well, I don't know. It's not mine to assume that what I did changes everything. Again, I'm just a humble servant following orders.
I think it probably changed quite a lot.
Although, it's when I see it rain and they tell me it hasn't rained for months, it does get you curious.
That's a very good sign.
Right. So those sorts of things say to you, or people start interacting with you, where your perception of the world becomes different. You say, well, something has changed, because something changes inside of us, and every time we change something inside of us and our perception, and we get closer to divinity, then that impacts all the people around you too.
Of course.
Whether that's your family, your friends,
because we
the
give off
grocery store
that new
clerk.
energy, and
Absolutely.
everybody feels it, and everybody feels great when they're around it, and then they feel good. They go out and they do great things because they feel so great, and that affects other people, and so on and so on. It does.
Exactly.
For sure.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I have to say, I have loved having you on the show tonight. It's been so great to have you here.
Thank you.
And Heidi is a good friend of Catherine and Alan Green, who I know have slow internet and probably aren't watching, but if you eventually see this, love you guys. And I just have a few comments tonight. Anyone who would like some great angel earrings, check these out.
They're gorgeous.
Aren't they beautiful?
Yes.
These are from my friend Amanda Vandervoort, and if you go on Facebook, it's True Reflections Jewelry, and she makes these beautiful angel earrings, and they are extremely affordable. You could get angel earrings for everybody on your Christmas list. Oh, I'm over here. And for those of you who are in the South Burlington area, that's Ontario, this Friday night, Michelle DeRoche, who was on the show October 24th, she's hosting a private ghost tour to raise funds for the Doreen Poe Foundation. She's meeting everyone outside Emma's back porch at 7:30 p.m. It's for a couple of hours. It's family friendly. She goes on tours with kids all the time, so bring out the family. It's $40 for the family of 4, and it's $15 a person. And again, it goes to a great cause. So join Michelle at Emma's back porch Friday night. And also, if you're looking for some great Christmas ideas, a good friend of mine, Bettina Goodwin, is hosting an open house Christmas bazaar. And Bettina is a Reiki master who also sells these amazing chocolates. They're evolution chocolates, and they are infused with Reiki. So that is going to be on December 2nd from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m., 313 O'Donoghue Avenue in Oakville. And last but not least, I never do this, but we have a lot tonight. The Sounds of Caring fundraiser and social is November 17th. This is in Toronto, so if you're in the Toronto area, and it's for 2 very special deserving organizations. It's the Wellspring Cancer Support Network, and also feeding sleeping children around the world, or it's sleeping children around the world, but I think it's feeding them. And Lori M. Martin, she's the author of Life Interrupted. She's a grief and trauma counselor. She is giving everyone who comes a free copy of her book. Her book's amazing. She's amazing. So hope you can come out for this great cause. They've got jazz musician Dave McLaughlin going to be there, and wine and cheese. And it is at Islington Golf Club, and it's 45 Riverbank Drive, and that is 2:45 p.m. in the afternoon. It goes from about that time till 5 p.m. So hope you can join Lori and her friends. So that's it. Thanks for being so patient, and Heidi for coming back. This has been awesome. And thank you to our viewers. I really appreciate that you come out and support us. I know that we're not on very often. Once we get all our videos caught up, we might be back once a month, but that'll be down the road. But we will be back for specials, so we'll keep you posted. Love you guys. Have a great night.
Much love.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.